Parental fatigue, burnout. If you're feeling this, we get it. But there's one thing we use when we're feeling depleted. It's called rehydrate. Delicious electrolytes that increase blood flow to your brain, organs, and nervous system, boosting your energy without anything nasty. Magic.
Next time you're feeling flat, give Rehydrate a go. Available at Coles. Some people don't want the me time so much to recharge so that they can be better parents. They want me time because they see their kids as an obstacle to getting some time to themselves.
It's the Happy Families Podcast, the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
Hello, this is Dr. Justin Coulson, the author of 6 books about raising happy families, helping your kids to be resilient and flourish and thrive. I'm here with my wife and co-host, Mrs. Happy Families, Kylie. I love that you're smiling before we start. I always feel like we're going to have a really great conversation when you're smiling.
Well, we did something a little bit different through the weekend.
Yeah.
I set up your office in a different way. So you and I actually get to smile at each other now.
Yeah, well, we've actually got seats to sit on. Like it's functional for the first time in about 6 months. Hey, Kylie, a couple of months ago, you were doing book club. So if you are a Happy Families member, a couple of times a year, we go through books. You run book club. People participate in a sort of a webinar meeting kind of conversation about insights that they're picking up from the books that you're that you're reviewing. And you were working through my book, 21 Days to a Happier Family. As you worked through that book, you came across a concept called me time versus we time. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But you had an experience that really makes this, I guess, quite salient, really pertinent.
So we had baby number 2 and baby number 3 14 months apart. It was a really, really tricky time for me, and I actually spiraled downwards very, very fast after baby number 3 arrived. And, you know, I had to seek professional help to help me get through that. And one of the pieces of advice that numerous professionals told me was I needed to take more me time.
Yeah.
That I was feeling overwhelmed because I had these 2 very, still very dependent children so close together, and that I really just needed to find something that I could enjoy and take the time out, get myself out of the house, get myself out of that environment and do stuff for me. And what I did, I took them seriously and we talked about it, and you were very supportive of me trying to, take time out. But what I was finding was that each time I would go out, it didn't matter how much fun and how much enjoyment I had out of the home. When I came back into the home, it was like it had never happened. Like there was no benefit for me having left the home. And so I thought that meant I wasn't going out enough.
Yeah.
And so I continued to go out more and do more and do more. And what I actually found was through that process, I actually spiraled down further and further.
Well, you became resentful of the family because the family was stopping you from doing the stuff that you actually enjoyed, and it didn't work. And the research around this topic, and this is why we decided to talk about it, right? Because we're coming up to Christmas and a lot of people are saying, I need to have some R&R, I need to get some me time. But I really want to emphasize the importance, not of me time, but of we time. And this is a really tricky thing to talk about because we actually do need me time. But our mindset around the me time is actually the bigger issue than the me time itself.
So you've said me time's important. Is it dependent on what we're actually doing in that me time? Like, is there positives to having me time?
There are positives to having me time. The idea behind me time is that you're supposed to recuperate, regenerate, and use that time to reassess where you're up to so that you can come back to the family and be intentional. But what the word recreation, me time is actually about recreation, right? But we don't really look at what the root of the word recreation means. Literally, if you break it up, it's to recreate yourself. Recreate is recreate. So we need to be using our me time in a way that recreates us. That is, it reinvigorates us. It inspires us. The word inspire means to breathe life into.
I love that.
So if I want to have some me time, some time out so that I can get inspired to come back to my family, that is, I want to have life breathed back into me in that me time. What unfortunately happens. And let me give an example of two different, back in the olden days, I used to talk with people one-on-one. We obviously don't have the capacity to do that like I used to. But I remember at one point I had two different mums that were coming to me, and both of them were saying, I need more me time. I'm falling apart. One was a mum of, I think she had 5 kids. It might have been 6. It was a long time ago. Forgive me if I'm a bit scratchy on the details. And she insisted that she needed more me time. My suggestion was, I don't think you need more me time. I think you actually need more we time. That is really high quality, intentional time with your family rather than trying to get away from them.
That sounds like a lot of hard work. I'm already feeling like overwhelmed with my life. And now you're telling me that I've actually got to create this intentional space where I'm spending more time with the people who are overwhelming me.
And that's what she said to me. And I totally get it. Like I have a lot of empathy for that, because sometimes I'm like, I don't want to be around these people. I know that I love them. I know that I was involved in the creation of them, but I just need some space from them. But the other mum, she had, I think she just had twins. And she had 5 children. I remember this one had 5 children, and she was exhausted. I think she had 5 under 5 from memory.
Wow.
And when I said to her, how can you be intentional? And instead of focusing on me time, how can you actually be intentional in your we time? How can you really focus on connecting with your children and seeing them and engaging with them and helping them to feel your love and the way you value them? And while one mum, the first mum said, no, I'm going to the movies. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to hang out with friends. I'm going to live my life. The other mum said, I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to go for we time rather than me time. The difference after, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 months down the track, as I sort of followed these mums and tried to help them and guide them, we had the first mum who just became increasingly embittered towards her family. And a little while down the track, I found out that things had not gone well in her family at all. Her relationship had broken up. The family had really broken down. Whereas the other mum had really engaged deeply with her family, had a lot more we time. Now, she'd also drawn on support from her husband and extended family members, but she really focused on we time, spending that one-on-one time and that high-quality time with the kids. And my goodness, it made a difference. Her family became stronger and she got over the stress and the drama. I'm not suggesting for a minute that it was easy, but the outcomes in the long term were substantially different.
So I guess my next question for you then is, how do I balance this? Because I think that it is really important for us, whether you're a mum or a dad. I mean, dads go off to work and in lots of cases have, kind of really full-on work days, and they come home and then they've got full-on family time because they come home, at witching hour for most families. So as a mum who already struggles with feeling guilty about doing things for herself, how do I, kind of navigate this situation where I'm feeling really pressured or I'm feeling overwhelmed by everything and I feel like I need some time out?
And now I'm telling you.
You're telling me that, no, you don't need time out, you need this.
So I'm in with everyone, Let's answer that in just a sec.
It's the Happy Families Podcast.
For a happier family, try a Happy Families membership, because a happy family doesn't just happen. Details at happyfamilies.com.au.
It's the Happy Families Podcast, the podcast for the time poor parent who just wants answers now. And the big question is me time versus we time. What if I'm stressed? What if I've got so much going on my plate? Now here's this parenting expert saying, no, don't have me time, have we time. As you were asking that question a moment ago, I was thinking of the single mums who are like, oh, no, I really, really need some me time.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm not suggesting that there shouldn't be me time. I love getting on my bike and going for a ride. That is me time. Or jumping in the pool and having a swim. That is me time. Or going for that sort of stuff is important. But if we're using it as an escape, if we're using it and looking for more and more excuses to be away from our family, it's not going to help. It's going to make it worse.
And what I found, through that experience that I shared at the beginning was exactly where I was left. I was left feeling more disconnected from the people that I loved the most than ever before. I felt more alone. I felt more isolated within my relationships from you and our children.
Yeah, it was rough.
In spite of the fact that the professionals were telling me I just needed more me time.
Yeah. So some people don't want the me time so much to recharge so that they can be better parents. They want me time because they see their kids as an obstacle to getting some time to themselves to do the stuff that they want to do.
Yeah.
And that at its core, I don't mean to put labels on this. This actually sounds more blunt than I mean it to. But at its core, we've got a self-oriented focus, with that kind of me time. You're getting in my way. You're stopping me living my life. I just want to be me and do my thing. And then no matter how much me time you get, you can never get enough. And the kids are always going to be stopping you. Whereas when you have the me time that says, I love you kids and I'm going to be better if I can go away, recharge, have my run, have my walk, have my swim, have my ride, have my whatever, my facial. And then I'm going to come back and I know that I'll be better because I've had that time out. And when I come back, I want to be better. I'm going to use this time to be intentionally focused on being better. That's the kind of me time that actually makes the difference.
So do you think this plays out differently for mums versus dads?
What I would say, now I'm going to be stereotypical here because I know that people are in all sorts of different circumstances, but let's just say you've got a full-time dad, involved in full-time employment, and then you've got a mum who is either part-time employed or at home. Again, I know that's not everybody. I'm just going with the stereotype because of time and simplicity. When whatever parent it is, but let's say dad gets to go off to work, I know that there's stress, there's drama, there's pressure, there's all sorts of things, but it's a different kind of pressure. There's no cognitive load ongoingly in terms of the way the family functions. And mums don't really kind of get away from that the way dads do. There's plenty of research that shows that mums are carrying the cognitive load, not the dads, when it comes to the family function. So I reckon that it is different for mums and dads purely because of the way we've divided labour in our society. I'm not saying that it's biological. I don't think it's inherent. It shouldn't be that way. I just think for the most part, it often can be. If we can create supportive environments for mums, if dads can be more respectful and encouraging of mums to have a little bit of time out so that they can come back and be awesome in the family, I think that's probably the best way forward. But I love this quote from Elizabeth Dunn that I've written in 21 Days to a Happier Family. It's about this research that she's done on the topic. What she found was this: investing financial and emotional resources in others is associated with greater happiness than investing in oneself. And then she says this: in short, when it comes to parental well-being, you reap what you sow. And I think the really important message in this conversation is that we're playing a long game and that the kids might be driving you crazy right now. The kids might be so demanding and you might feel like you just need that me time so very much. But when you have me time at the expense of we time, the relationship ultimately may suffer if we don't get the balance right. And in 10 or 15 years' time, there's been that relationship rupture because we haven't had the time in the relationship. We need to make our relationship strong, and we time is how we do that.
Well, a couple of months ago, you asked me what was my perfect day, I think it was. My very first podcast I did with you, you asked me what my perfect day looked like.
I remember that.
And I told you that it was a walk along the beach, and you asked me if the kids were involved. And I said, yes, I'm looking forward to this Saturday having that magic moment with our kids on the beach.
Yeah, me too. I love a bit of we time. Hey, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. We hope that it's been helpful, especially this one as we move towards the Christmas holidays and you have the opportunity to have a whole lot of we time with the ones that you love the very most. We love getting your feedback on the podcasts. You can email us, podcasts@happyfamilies.com.au, or you can leave us a rating and review at Apple Podcasts. Love getting them come through. We've actually had, I'm going to highlight two, Kylie, that we've had this week. The first one came from Lena Van Ray, 5-star, my favourite parenting podcast.
Kylie and Justin share personal stories that really help parents of all age kids. A must listen for all parents wanting a happier family.
Thanks so much, Lena. And I love this one. This one came through from Sonar B. 5 stars, positive and uplifting every time. This is what Sonar B said. It's made my day. I'm a recent listener thanks to my wife who subscribed to the membership for the webinars and so on. OMG, this is so good because I love podcasts and it's relatable and short and sweet. I don't dread a long episode. Mr. and Mrs. Happy Families are so good together, better than any radio station I've ever listened to. Great mix of experience in broadcasting and psychology. You can feel the team vibe with those two. Love these guys. Thank you. Your efforts are impacting the nation. Good on ya.
I love it. That's awesome.
Really appreciate that. If you are enjoying the podcast as a Christmas gift to us, us, if we can be so bold, can we ask you to jump onto Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review just like Sona B? Those 5-star ratings and reviews help other people to find the podcast and make their families happier. We really appreciate the work from Justin Rulon, our producer from Bridge Media. It's been a great year, Justin, and we appreciate all the work that you've done. And our executive producer is Craig Bruce. If you would like more information about how we can help your family flourish, just like Sona B, jump onto happyfamilies.com.au, check out the membership, become a premium member, and you get access to loads of resources to help your family be happier and to make your we time that much more enjoyable. You can also follow us at Facebook at Dr. Justin Coulson's Happy Families.